There are many ways to learn. Some read books to understand, some study attentively and learn, and there are some who need to listen to learn. There is a motivation that guides those who listen to learn. The motivation could come from any inspiration. In my journey of life, I have realized time is a great teacher. It teaches you through your experience, through the people you meet, or through your travel to various places. Alternatively, even when someone gives you a earful, if they or you yourself are discontent or unhappy with your work that is done or not done, and that's why I guess they say you learn from your mistakes. As a student of fashion back in the 80s, the access to inspiration was a talk on fashion trends mentioned by our teachers, or the limited international magazines in the college we had access to in the libraries, and pop cultures, where we as students emulated the trends we saw in magazines in our style inspirations, and transcended into experimenting with various mediums of structures and textures. My mind would race using lycras with leather or unusual materials like foil, plastics, nuts and bolts, flowers, crow feathers to create forms, or even use Indian fabrics to form Western silhouettes. My professors found this ability impractical, but it was Hemant Trivedi, my guru and professor, who said, listen intently to your inner voice. If it speaks to you thus, then go with the flow of it. This has been my mantra for creating and working on a philosophy of design I adhere to even up to this date. When I drape fabric, a wrong pleat or a wrong drape or a wrong pin somewhere makes the shape look wrong until I leave it loose to fall by itself on the dress form. And by this virtue, today when I talk to my students, I say, listen to your fabric, it talks to you. In my humble opinion, there are various aspects that pave the way for attentive listening. My best teachers have been my grandmom, who told me bedtime stories and then would speak about the moral of the story and life's lessons learned. As a teenager, I remember going with my dad to the gymkhana, sitting with him and listening to conversations on business or regular topics of life. He would at times talk to me about life's philosophies as well. This taught me a great deal about various subjects. A great personality that you admire or are in awe of definitely makes you focus your attention to what is being told. As a child, I disliked studying and did not do so well in many subjects, but always had good marks in my history and physics class. Reason? I had a childhood crush on the teacher who taught us, so I listened attentively. As a grown up in my field of work and working with stalwarts like the late Mr. Yash Chopra, Mr. Subhash Ghai, Sanjay Bansali, or Ashutosh Gowarikar, my work became a learning of the clarity and process visualization of characters or the canvas these directors were looking at presenting. Thus, listening to them gave me an understanding of storytelling, the communication with various technicians on board the film, and exchange of ideas, and then seeing what came to life became a visual learning platform for me. I had the opportunity to see what came alive in films like Devdas, Lamhe, Taal, or Jodhaa Akbar. Working with the best in the industry and over about, I think, 95 actors in the least, and interacting with them, in my journey, I realized that everyone taught me something, whether it was about a style statement, whether it was about work discipline, or life. Interacting with so many people daily taught me a lot about the technicalities of work. Watching senior actors do their makeup and asking them a question or two taught me about makeup and contouring and actually creating looks on the big screen. Speaking about why they thought a particular color looked good on them or why they didn't want to wear a particular cut taught me a great deal about disguising or enhancing the figure or complexion. Listening to them about dealing with life's various hurdles taught me a great deal about how to interact with people and, most importantly, zip up when need be. At the end of it, life's learning is a sum of all your experiences. And today, I think I have learned a lot from all my experiences listening to such stalwarts. A very important aspect that nurtures learning in your passion is how you deal with it. You love what you do and want to push beyond the realms of what you have achieved for the sheer love of your passion and the interest in learning through what you see and listen to creates great intent. Thus, in my endeavor to push beyond what I have achieved and to create new landmarks, I regard that life teaches us every single day. And I feel the need to be receptive to what I hear and observe around me. Because when you're open and receptive, the universe actually speaks to us all the time, offering us answers through subtle messages and signs. It is sometimes hard to always recognize its voice or understand the language unless you are open to it and you hear it intently. Be humble enough to be an attentive student at any phase in your life, to listen to the whispers of the universe and be grateful for its messages. So, I would say, pay attention. I have always been aware of signs, they could be random. Like sometimes I'm looking for an answer, and someone in a general chat or television or a quote on social media gives me the solution. So I feel that one should try to synchronize your inner and outer self, and that would only happen with focus. As when you are in sync, it becomes easy to learn, and through that, you learn to go with the flow of life and surrender to the universe, trusting that it helps you master your learnings in ways that are limitless. And this is when I believe true magic happens. The world we live in today, we consume a lot of different voices, different opinions, and different experiences from social media on an every hour, every minute, every second basis. So listening becomes a very mindful process. You have to sit with yourself to listen to your inner voice, to understand how are all these voices affecting you. How is it motivating your creativity, your passion, or your knowledge? And how is it making you feel, enhancing or hindering the way you experience the world? So I believe listening has to be tempered, edited, and mindful to your advantage to think and consider what adheres to your conscience. It would also make sense to research who you listen to on the various digital portals. Is it relevant to your direction? And is it factually correct? With the past 2 years being what it is, each one of us emotionally have been through a lot. I think it also gave us a lot of time to explore and introspect and have new learnings, a lot of new voices, vocations, and opportunities also came to the forefront. And since the only mode of communication was technological, I felt that it opened avenues to a new learning. Being an entrepreneur, I always felt the need to know and understand the aspect of marketing on the digital platform. And I did by signing on up for the online courses and listening to them. This did teach me and open new avenues and new ways of looking at my business. I think creativity gets fortified with experience and learning, observing and practice. The possibilities are limitless in what you can create, and that is genuine talent that really helps you stay on top of your wave. Since studying or reading was never my strength, in fact, I always fell asleep while reading. Today, as I introspect, I realize that listening and providing control of the learning process has, to my mind, also stimulated my speech and helps improve my own speaking skills. And to have a control on verbal communication, this is one reason I would say that today I can lecture in a class or talk on platforms like this.